Welcome to that Thursday thing. Thanks very much to all of you for helping me pick the name for this regular Facebook Live feature. I see a whole bunch of gals hopping on. There's Terry and Karen, Sue, Susan, Holly, and Colleen. Happy New Year to all of you guys as well. Hello, thanks for joining me. And yeah, so we decided to call it that Thursday thing. I asked you for some recommendations, and there was lots of good ones. There was, Thursday thoughts and, totally terrific Thursdays and Thursdays with Noreen, Thursday fun, all that kind of stuff. So there was lots of great suggestions, but there was just something about that Thursday thing that stuck in my mind, and it really just lets us do whatever is kind of on our mind. We might be doing a layout. We might be playing around with a punch like we are today. We might be talking about organization. We might be talking about, photos. We might be doing a new technique, making a card, making a mini album. Who knows? But we are going to do something together on the first and third Thursdays of each month this year. And yeah, we kind of started it last year, but then COVID hit and I kind of pivoted and did a bunch of different content creation. So we're just going to get right back into this regular sort of Facebook Live. So thanks all for joining me. Lots and lots of ladies hopping on. We've got some ladies from down under. Annette's here, Minnesota, South Australia. There's Linda. Yeah, all kinds of good places. There's Joe from Louisiana. So I love that it is an international audience that we've got here today. And really, we're just going to play. We're just going to hang out for a little while, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, and we're just going to play. And there's my good friend Nancy, just from down the road here in Calgary. Ellen from New Mexico. There's Janine from Australia as well. Hello, Janine. Thank you so much for being one of our guest designers over on CLS. It was wonderful to have your talents showcased there as well. Marla and Megan, another good friend from down under. So thank you, ladies. So let's get started. I have good news and bad news. I have good news that I do have some of the new products to show and share with you. And of course, we're going to use the Mandala Burst Punch today. But the rest of my products have not arrived. They were supposed to come yesterday. They have not arrived. So UPS, they're working their little brown butts off. So I tell you, it's always a surprise if you get them or not. But we have enough that we get to play with today. I just don't have everything to show you. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to look at the Boho Escape papers, stickers and embellishments, the punches. I want to talk a little bit about a couple questions I had about some differences between punches, and then we'll play. Okay, so hopefully that sounds good. Let me get you turned around here. All right, and let me grab a sip of water here. Okay, so I received the Boho papers, the designer papers and the tone on tone papers, the stickers and some of the embellishments a while back to do some layouts for the magazine and for the CM blog. So I've had these for a while. I have to tell you, when I first found out that it was kind of a travel themed collection, I thought it was lovely, but I wasn't super excited. But then when I actually got it, oh my gosh, this paper is absolutely beautiful. I think it's one of my favorite kind of star papers that we've had over the last several collections, and I really enjoyed working with it. So I'm happy to share these, and of course you'll see more Boho Escape layouts from me coming up over the next few weeks. So again, this is the paper pack, the regular or designer paper pack. So we've got that beautiful star paper, that's the standout for sure. Nice navy and green triangle on the back, some fun chevrons. And this is a real sort of nice bright coral, a bamboo kind of outline on the back of that one. This is a nice one too, the ferns. And this is a good one to just kind of let you know some of the cardstock colors that we have that go with this collection. Navy, the dark sea green, the aqua, If you have any pear left from Croptoberfest, I found that pear goes nicely, and even the goldenrod. It's a bit brighter than this, but it does go nicely as well. There's kind of a palm, stylized palm fronds on the back of that one. Really pretty blush grid, and then an all over sort of pattern. Let's see if you can see that. It's got a little bit of a diamond and then the little dots. This one's really pretty as well, all over leaf pattern, again with that goldenrod and the blush color in it. On the back, more of a kind of a gold color, mustard and gold. And then this one's really, really pretty, kind of tiny star flowers and dots. And on the back, a really nice canvas photographic textured paper. So that's the Boho Escape patterned paper. And then the tone on tone paper, we've got some nice complementary colors, solids, stripes. There's 3 that have the mandala kind of tone on tone in front of it, so that's fun. And on the back that there's either a stripe or a geometric. And then these ones that feature the predominantly stripes on this side feature again either the mandala or the kind of a geometric, I guess kind of an oval shape, oval geometric on the back. So lots of really great colors. Again, the mustard, the corals, the aquas, greens, really awesome. Okay, and I do love having both the tone on tone and the designer to work with, because these read more as a solid. You know, when you're looking at this sheet even a little bit further away, you basically just kind of see solid tones. So it really does read as a solid compared to the more designer prints. Okay, so I love having both of those. And then the stickers. Did anybody notice that they changed the direction that the sticker packs open? I've already used some of these, so I don't know if I've got a full sheet of any of them. But we've got, there's a full sheet of this one, I think. You can see I've used some different ones. Okay. So love all of those. There's the full sheet of the borders. Oops, sorry. Okay, these are quite nice, these little kind of variegated or gradiated dots. And then all of these beautiful floral clusters. And I mean, you can't go wrong when you've got something like this, because it's a cluster that's done for you. So that's awesome. And then finally, the and I know I'm going to get questions about this. So yes, I take embellishments and things like that out of the bag. And basically I store stickers, small tiny scraps, and any of the die cut embellishments. I store them all together when after I've kind of opened all the packages. So again, in the collection here with the die cuts, you can see those lovely mandalas. And you know, from my art teaching days, again, mandalas are just circular designs that have a repetitive quality to them, and usually they're very, very decorative. So that's where we get that name from. But look at some of these foiled leaves. Can you see that? Just fantastic. Those are going to add so much sparkle to your pages. These are fun. They look like little beach blankets, little beach towels. And then quite a few frames. So you've got some open frames and then some closed frames, and then lots more in the way of small, you know, embellishments, floral clusters. This one's really pretty. Okay, all the colors, and a foiled pineapple. All right, plus you get some of the bling. Love those colors. They're going to really spice up your layouts. So that is the foiled embellishments. Let me just gather these up here. The stickers and the 2 paper packs. So we might use some of those here, but really we're going to focus on some tools. And I just wanted to pull these other 2 out so I could share with you the new mirrored triangles border maker cartridge. So this is the strip that you get. And if you're wondering, some of the little punch outs or leftovers or fallouts are these fun little sort of, they remind me of like little banners. Okay, you could kind of string a few of those little banners across the top of a photo. And then there's also these little tiny, they remind me of like photo corners. So again, a little fiddly to work with, but those are your fallouts there. Then we have the pineapples themselves. And I cut a bunch of these so you could see the size. Nicely detailed. And of course, all those little bits kind of come out. And then when you punch them out, you're left with the negative shape. So again, it would be really fun to create a border or page border or a standalone border, punch some out, and then maybe flip over the paper and add the positive shapes in between. So working with the negative shapes and the positive shapes. So that's the pineapple punch and the, sorry, let me just get rid of these. The pineapple punch and the new mirrored triangles. But we are going to play with the Mandala Burst Decorative Border Punch. I always want to make sure I get the full name in there for you. Okay, just stopping for a couple questions here. Hi, Karen. There's one of my teammates that's joined in the last couple of minutes here. Chris is saying her boho escape comes tomorrow, so that's great. You can play with it as soon as you get it. And Joe is asking, how would the stickers and die cuts work color-wise with the All My Love collection? Don't have that handy, Joe. Maybe if we have a couple minutes at the very end, I'll pull it, but it's definitely got some of that kind of blush tone in it, but it's a little bit more saturated. So I don't know that, for example, like I think this blush color would work, but I don't know about that green. I think that's going to be, some of these are going to be a little bit too leaf green versus more that sort of sage green. The blues might work with it. So yeah, if I don't have a chance to pull that out, I'll maybe try to do a little bit of a comparison picture for you later. Okay, before we play, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, push this off or anything. I do want to play with these, but I wanted to address a couple of other questions first. So every month, of course, Creative Memories has new products, and I have had some customers and even other advisors ask, what's really the difference between the border punch, a frame punch, and a circle punch? Okay. And, don't they all kind of do the same thing? And I know that one of the things we all love to do as soon as we get a new punch is to play with it and see what we can create. And many of us have been able to figure out how to make, large circles. We're going to look at making a couple of different large designs with the Mandala border punch today. But, how is it different? Because these two, for example, a border punch and a frame punch, they look very similar. But of course, I think you can see that the frame punch has been designed not only with these extra lines on the side, but the design of the punch itself, like not the housing, but the design or the decorative aspect is symmetrical enough that it can go around corners easily. So this one I have played with a little bit, but I can't get it to go around a corner nicely. Okay, and you'll see what I mean in a few minutes when we start playing with it. But because it's intricate, because it's not a simple, straightforward design that can kind of repeat itself, yeah, it's a bit funny, okay? And then, of course, the circle punches, you see how they're different. You can make a border by feeding it, over that lip, okay? So you can make a border with the circle punches by sliding it in that way. But it's really designed to cut the corners of a square so that it will create the circle, okay? So again, circle punch, frame punch always has those two little extra lines there, and then a border punch. Okay, so now are you ready? Are you ready to play? All right, so beautiful, beautiful edge. I really, really like this particular edge. It could be, it could be very, very sort of decorative. It could be very simple. It can be very stylized. It could be very feminine. It's a really great design. So this is just the dark sea green cardstock that I've just punched that out. And just in case you're wondering, the fallout pieces that come from this, I think fallout is what Sherry Reeland, who's our product development specialist calls it, they would make a cute little sort of, you know, frame, almost like a little thought bubble or a little, you know, on a cartoon where it says bam, pow, all that kind of stuff. That would make a fun little, you know, decorative embellishment. So hang on, I always have a look at those leftovers, fallouts, punch outs, whatever you want to call them. Okay, but yeah, so let's go ahead and play with this. So the first thing, of course, you can do is to create just a standalone border. So let me show you how to do that. We always unlock the mechanism. Okay, and the first time you ever use it, you might have a bit of, I'm going to see if I can show you on here. I noticed you might have a bit of kind of like an oily residue. This was the first punch I punched with the pineapple. And it's just from the manufacturing process. So definitely do your first couple of punches on a sheet of scrap paper. And I'm just going to show you how to use the punch here, just in case you don't know or if you haven't used a decorative punch before. Thankfully, Creative Memories listened to all of us scrapbookers, and they have added 2 lines on the front of the punch. So you can see if you look inside the punch, there's some lines there. But they took our advice and they added the punch, the lines on the front of the punch. So it's a lot easier to line up your paper. So you can put your paper in this way and punch through, or you can put your paper in this way and punch through there, okay? Doesn't matter. I like to feed it this way because I hold it with my right hand. So all you're gonna do is slide the paper in between the punch and the base plate, and you're gonna line up that line with the edge of your paper, okay? And then you see that I'm holding the back up against the lip so that it doesn't move. Punch, and then when you move it, the part that you have punched will line up with the picture on the base plate. So sorry, I know this is gonna jiggle my table a little bit. We'll just go through and do this. And last one, I like to just hold it here when I'm doing my last one. And there we go. Okay, let's get rid of all of that. Okay, so you can imagine that that's going to be lovely. Top, bottom, side of a page. It's going to go great anywhere you put it. Now I punched this one from a 3-inch wide piece of cardstock. So let's turn it around and see if we can make a double sort of border. Okay, so at this point now we're going to put this inside the punch, and you can see, it disappears. We can't see where we're lining it up. So this is where the Post-it note trick comes in. Lots of you know this, but again, if you do not know, you can take a Post-it note with its removable adhesive and just line it up at the edge. And then this Post-it note becomes like a little handle, so that when you slide it in, you can see the edge of the paper, because that edge of the Post-it note is at the edge of your paper. Okay, so we can go ahead and punch, slide it along. Sorry, I know it jiggles. And I think one more. It looks like I might be a little off here, just a little bit off. But you can see that that creates a really pretty kind of double mandala, almost a round circle. And I do just want to tell you that I always play around with some scrap paper. So you can see how I tried to go around a corner here. But so this is a paper that a strip that I did, and I wrote myself a little note. It's just shy of 3 inches. So that's what it looks like with kind of like a 3-inch strip. Then I decided to do a 2.5-inch strip. So you can see that it gets quite small in between. It almost becomes more like an oval. And again, I just left myself, kind of a handle here. And then this one was 2 3/4 inches. So a little bit more space. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but you could definitely, vary the width of your strips. I wouldn't go any less than 2.5. Otherwise, you can see how these 2 parts of the punch are touching now, these 2 parts of the design. So you're not going to get a kind of a full clean design if you go any smaller than a 2.5-inch wide strip. Okay, but I quite like this one. I like how it looks like a full sort of circle. And yeah, I think that would be absolutely lovely on a, you know, again, across the border or the bottom of a page. Let's see if I've got my templates here. And then something like that would give you lots of room, you know, for a 6x4, maybe a 4x4, nice big title at the top, that kind of thing. Okay, or if you did two, that would be really pretty as well, top and bottom. Okay, so something like that would be a really easy and pretty layout to do. Punch these out, 3-inch strip, maybe the different decorative papers. You know, you could even go ahead and cut this out, cut this in half, and then one of these would be a more decorative element. Not cut them in half, but just cut them apart, right? So if you took something like that, and then one of those pretty flower stickers, you know, you could make a really pretty little decorative embellishment cluster with that. Okay, so that is creating like a border strip using a double border strip, I guess, using the Mandala border punch. Okay, so let's have a look now at some smaller sort of squares. All right, so I thought something like this was pretty. Again, you know, it's a lovely, lovely base for an embellishment cluster. You can create your own. You could put a title on top of there, all sorts of things. So using your punch to create these little embellishment clusters is really, really fun, and it creates a really pretty design. So again, I get out my squares and I try to figure out, you know, what's the best size to do these at. And let's see, so this one, I've written a note on myself. This was a 4.5-inch square. This one was a 5-inch square that I started with, and a 4 3/4 inch. And I just kind of liked that 4 3/4 inch the best, right? It just gives me a little bit more space inside here, and none of the in-betweens get cut off. So that's what I made here. And again, I'm just going to show you how to do that really quick. I think you can probably tell, because when I'm showing you the back, you get the sense of where we're marking our lines. So we just need to start in the center of each side so that we can get a nice even punch when we're working with the small squares. Okay, so I just find the center by gently folding those together, and then just a line. So, you know, I really encourage you to try, you know, some samples for yourself. Okay, here's where you just have to kind of be just a little careful, because you want to make sure that if you're flipping your punch upside down to line it up, you want to make sure that you flip it back over right side up when you actually punch, because there's so many little bits here. You can see a few still here on my mat. If you punch this way, all of those little bits are going to get, you know, kind of, they're going to fall down into the punch mechanism. And then the next time you punch, it might not be clean. Okay, so all we're going to do, we're going to punch 4 times. We're going to line up that pencil line that we drew with this top point of our mandala. Okay, and you're going to be able to see the line down through this sort of little opening as well. I hope you're going to be able to see this. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to line up that pencil line with the top part and flip it over. So I'm just squeezing it together just to hold the paper in place, just gently, and then punch so that all of the bits fall out. Okay. Then we're just going to move it to the opposite side, line it up, flip it over and punch. And just finish off. Okay, and then if you've got something like this where the little edges just don't quite come apart for you, just take your scissors to complete that. Okay, So that's the 4 3/4 inch square. All right, but again, that's what the 5-inch square looks like. When I cut it apart, you see that there's kind of a little extra there. Okay, and then this was the 4 1/2. So again, it didn't do as nice a job in between the mandalas. So I think that 4 3/4 is the winner. All right, so that's a great little embellishment to put on your pages. Create a little base for your embellishment clusters. We always talk about clustering. And then I just wanted to show you one other thing really quickly. Anytime you're thinking about, just using a single punch, what you want to do is measure the space between those two front lines. And I measured it, and it is actually 2 3/8. So it's not quite 3, but it's not quite 2 1/2, but it's bigger than 2 1/4. So then if you've got that 2 3/8, you can just slide it in. Definitely, eyeball it so that you can see that the paper is in between those two lines, or you could flip it over and just punch. And again, you just get the single design at the top. So that would be nice, to make like a little tag. Just trim that off there. That would be a nice little tag to tuck in for journaling. That would also be really pretty behind a photo. I did try to do kind of a double punch behind a photo, but to do 2, you need 4 3/4, just same dimensions as our square there. So it's not quite right for, it's going to be bigger than a 4-inch. Oh, look at me. There's Shane and I when I was graduating. Look at that. Yeah, it will make a nice mat, but it won't be, kind of the same width as a photo. But you could definitely make a mat for a photo using that 4 3/4, and then obviously just longer at the side. That would be nice with, didn't we just have a 4? Yeah. So that would be a nice mat for a 4x4 photo. Okay? All right. So all of those fun things we can do, but I know that the first thing that people ask me is, will it cut a big circle, or will it cut a decorative square? Okay? And the answer usually is yes. It really just depends on you playing around with it to find out the measurements. So there's lots of advisors who create these types of designs, right? And they use our tools beautifully, and it's really just a matter of figuring out the measurements, okay? So I'm going to tell you that both of these start with the 12 by 12, and I want to do the square first. I wonder if we should do it with, I'm thinking maybe we just do it with white cardstock, truthfully, because that way I can show you all of the lines that are going to go on this. Okay. All right. So for anything like this, anytime you're working with I have like a work surface mat here that I usually keep on top of my desk. And of course, underneath it is the table that I do all my photographing on, right? I photograph the layouts and stuff for the blogs and, all of those kind of things. But so I have the work surface mat, but I love to use the Creative Memories 13 by 13 cutting mat anytime I am creating something from a full sheet of paper, okay? So I'm just going to line it up there. And again, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to mark again those center lines. Okay, so top to bottom at 6 inches. And sorry, I just got to get myself over here a little bit. Sorry if you see my head. Side to side at 6 inches. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is, again, we're going to start upside down. And we're going to use that line just like we did on the small square to get started. And that's going to put our first punch in the center. Okay, so just holding it gently, lining up, and I think you can see a little bit easily now with the white cardstock that we're lining up that pencil line with this top point of the mandala. Okay, so squeeze and turn it over to punch. And because I'm upside down, I'm going to do all 4 sides right now. So we start in the center, and you might be thinking, okay, which way are we going next? We're going to work our way out from the center. Okay, so now we can place the punch back down on our surface. And what we're going to do is on each side, we're going to punch 1 mandala on each side of the one we've already created. So again, it doesn't really matter which way you go because we're going to get to all of them. So we're going to punch once on this side, move it along, and punch once on the other side. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 times on each side. And where we had with the 5-inch square, we've got those corners. You're going to see how it takes 3 punches for us to get the corners on a 12-inch piece. All right, so let's just go around and punch our extras. How are we doing for time? 2:34. I know this is going to take another minute or 2 to get this done, and I hope we have time for me to show you the circle if you are willing to wait a few extra minutes with me. Okay, so now we have all of our sides punched. So I think you can see that if we tried to cut this, we'd either have a diagonal line here. We can't get our punch in enough here, okay? It's going to make a weird sort of design up at the top here. So we have to actually trim this back a little bit. And it's not as hard as it sounds. I'm just going to take my little pen here so I can show you. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the point of these squares along the 45-degree-inch line, and we're going to put the point exactly where that 45-degree-inch line meets 1 1/4. Okay, so we're just going to put it right there. Hope you can see that. So along the line, point at, I'll get this out of the way, point at 1 1/4. Hold it down, just trim. If it's not quite, you know, bang on, don't worry about it. You'll see why we need to do that in just a second. Hold it down, oops, and trim. Someone's saying their punch is going to be here tomorrow. Oh, that's Kathleen. So she's saying her punch is going to be here tomorrow. I bet she's going to be trying out some of these ideas. And, you know, one of the things I really like is that even though this takes a few minutes, you get such a wow from it that you don't really need to do a lot else to your layouts. Okay? All right, so now we've got these funny sort of angled sides. We're going to turn our punch again upside down, and this edge is going to go all the way to the back of the punch. Now we do have to just kind of do our best in terms of making it centered. So you can see, let me squeeze this, you can see that at the edges of each of the mandala, I'm just trying to, you know, make it as even as I can, but all you can do is eyeball it. There's no, you know, there's no real trick here, but I'm squeezing it and punching it, and isn't that pretty? So we get that nice sort of corner going around our square. So let's just do that. Line up the paper with the back of the punch, get it as centered as is humanly possible, and then we just finish that off. Lots of little bits come out of this, so you're going to find that you have to, you know, kind of adjust and empty it out quite frequently. One more, and then we're all done. Okay, so very, very pretty. And again, you can just see that, you know, it's lovely. It's absolutely lovely, right? So whether you do it a solid and then put it maybe on top of, punch from a solid piece of cardstock and then put it on a decorative background, or you punch from the decorative paper and put it on a solid background. It's lovely either way, okay? And then let's just play around here. Will it take 4 4x4s? I think it will. Yeah. So you can get 4 4x4s in the center there. And of course, if we do our scrapbook or math, we know that that will allow us to get, you know, at least 2 4x6s, right? So you could do 4x6 and 2 4x4s, or you could do a 6x4 and 2 4x4s, and then you've still got room for title and journaling, okay? So really easy to do in terms of, takes a little bit of time, but it's not difficult. Just start with your crisscross lines, 6 inches, top to bottom, 6 inches side to side. Do your center ones first, and then you're gonna cut that at 1 1/4 inches, okay? I will try to, I'll try to remember to put the measurements in the comments there, okay? All right, so we were at 240. Do you want to stay and do the circle? Give me thumbs up for the circles, or if you have to go, you know, I totally understand. Usually we've tried to keep these for about, you know, 30 minutes, but when you're playing around, it's just so much fun. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give you the basics here of the circle, and just kind of show you how to do it, and then we may not get the entire thing done, okay? All right, I'm seeing some yeses, I'm seeing some thumbs up, so let's go ahead and do the circle. Extra steps for the circle, because we need to start with a circle, right? So for the square, we started with a square, even though, you know, it kind of has the rounded edges afterwards. But with a circle, we actually have to start with a circle, okay? So you're gonna need a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper, your, what's it called? Jumbo circle. I couldn't remember what the shape was. And then we're going to use the blue blade and the 13-inch mat, cutting mat. Now, I wanted to tell you that, I don't know if it's just my old eyes, I don't know what it is, but I decided when I first got this that in order for it to make, in order to make it more useful to me, I would extend these lines. So the 45s and the 90s, they go right to the edge of the mat. But these, like the 60 and the 30, these extras, they only go, I think it's just to this outer edge. So I took my old photo labeling pencil and a ruler, and I just, if you had a white pencil crayon, you could probably do the same thing, or like a white sewing pencil, you can probably do the same thing. But basically I just extended those white lines all the way to the edge so that it was easier for me to see, okay? And you'll see why we need those in just a second. All right, so let's line up our paper. Let's get that off first. And I actually often like to just add a dab or two of repositionable adhesive in the center when I'm doing cutting with the large custom cutting shapes, just because then it helps not move it around so much. Okay, then you'll also notice that I have marked the 6 inches on my jumbo circle here. And again, it's not scientific, but it's just to give me, you know, as good a little bit of a help to getting my, I think that's right, to getting my circle centered, okay? And one of the key things is that now that we have the paper centered, and as close as we can to getting the circle centered, we want to keep the circle on the mat, and we're gonna take away the, sort of the cutaway part, okay? Let me just get this in. I think that's in. Blue blade all the way around. If you wonder why I seem to be struggling sometimes, it's because my the way that I have my camera set up, it's actually not near the edge of my desk. My hands are actually right close to my body now, and you can't see them on camera. So I have to sort of stretch a little bit to get this done. Okay, so we're not going to move the paper. We're just going to hold it down, and we're going to keep the paper circle right there. Get our ruler, and we are going to mark 6 inches up and down, 6 across. Okay, and then this is where we're going to need those extra markings. So we're not going to do the 45s in the corner. We're going to do the diagonals at the, I guess, the 60 and 30 degree marks. So we're basically creating our pie. Okay. There's the 30, I believe. We're skipping over the 45s. And one more. Okay, so we've got a pie now with 12 slices. So we're going to do 12 cuts. I'm going to take this off now and just rub that adhesive off. And then we're going to do the same thing. Now, because we have so much lining up to do, the circle takes longer than the square because we have to do that same trick of lining the pencil mark up with the point for each one. Okay. I don't think this is going to matter, but I'm just going to trim that off. All right. Doesn't matter where you start. Line it up as best you can. Oh, and with the circle, I actually, this is what I like to do, but I think you could still go straight in. I like to actually put the point right at the edge of the circle, okay? So not placing the paper to the back of the punch, but just placing the edge of the circle with that point. Sorry, let me get it lined up again. Okay? So squeeze it gently, turn it over to punch. All right? And then we just keep moving around the circle here. So you can see that it's going to look great. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So you're going to do all 12 punches. Okay, so imagine that we've done all 12 of our punches, and then we have to come in and trim off these little bits. Now, I have not tried it with all of the different sizes. So if you're feeling up to it, I encourage you to try it with the different circle sizes and just see if you can get it so that there's none of these little bits to trim off. But all you do is kind of follow the pattern and trim that off. Okay, and that's all I did for this one. So you're going to go all the way around, lining up your line to the point in the punch and trimming off the little bits in between, and you get your beautiful circle. Lovely, isn't it? And again, it makes for just such a pretty layout. So you can imagine that. Let's do a quick little embellishment cluster here. Like I said, this one's a no-brainer, right? Just put that in. That would be maybe mounted with some foam squares. Let's put that on real quick. Okay, layer it in with another little piece. I always say that when you're creating a cluster, everything's got a touch. Don't have, you know, this down here and then this floating off to the side. Make them get cozy. Make them touch. Make them cluster. All right, so you could do something like that. And then where's my stickers with the, okay, so I don't know, maybe something like you can never have too much sunshine. And we could add a mandala. Oh, there's a sun. See, look at that. Right? So we could do that. And even maybe some, no, not the beach towel. Let's do another leaf, but a different color. Okay, so maybe the leaf kind of as the anchor, and they're both kind of going in that direction to sort of draw your eye around. That's a lot of yellow at the top, but it's a nice kind of connection between the sun, and the title. Okay, so you could have, once you get the circle done, that's your biggest job in creating the layout. And then adding, you know, an embellishment cluster, adding a little journaling tag. There's a couple of cute ones in here, right? You could tuck something like that in behind and do your little journaling there, or even at the bottom, right? So that would kind of echo again the circular shape, give you a place to journal. I like that green actually better. So, you know, I would just play around with it until I was happy and then adhere everything down. What else could we do? Maybe if, no, I don't know. I would look through these and pull them all out and, you know, have another little look. I don't want another huge one, but maybe we'd stick our pineapple in there. Who knows? Okay. Okay, so I have kept you way longer, way longer than I expected to, but that was really fun. I enjoyed kind of playing around with that and giving you some ideas. So definitely give me some feedback if that Thursday thing is something that you want to see continue. If you enjoyed this, other topics that you want to see me cover. Again, you know, when there's so many new and lovely products, it's easy to just, you know, play around with something. But if you want to do a certain type of project, cards, crafts, mini albums, organization, layouts, just let me know and we'll see what we can work in, okay? I'm also going to take this video and pop it on over to the YouTube channel. So if you follow me over on YouTube and you see this video come up, obviously it's just a rebroadcast of the Facebook Live, okay? And conversely, if you end up watching this on a replay or if you end up watching this on the YouTube channel, then I hope you join us the next time we get together for that Thursday thing, which will be January, what's 2 weeks from today? Is that the 21st? Thursday, January 21st. All right, at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I will see you then. Ramona's saying, loved it. I'll be back in 2 weeks. And yes, I will too. So thanks so much for joining me today. Loved having, you know, kind of an afternoon of fun with you. And we'll do it again soon. Okay, bye for now.